What's up, Detroit?
What's up, Detroit?
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Hey, Daisy. I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing just fine.
Good, 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 good.
5 o'clock with the children,
Oh, wow. You
but I'm good. I'm doing
okay?
great.
Okay.
I'm doing great.
That's great. That's great.
So, what you got going on, huh?
Well, I'm ducking the snow and the frost and the
Uh-huh.
ice and the sleet.
You've been making it, ain't we?
Baby, I'm telling you, this ain't California.
I think I'm kind of thankful though about it. And the reason I say that, not thankful for the snow. However, you got to deal with it when you're in Michigan. But I think that we didn't get so much of it yet.
Yeah, that's the blessing, but
Yes.
it's still the terrain, the ice, and the other things that we have to deal with
Right.
in the neighborhood. So
Oh, that's right.
getting out to do things is one thing, and then you don't want to fall.
You shoveled and locked in. You got to
Yeah.
shovel yourselves out and shovel your part of the street
Shovel,
and
yeah.
the driveway. So you just take your driveway and just shovel all the way down until you get into the middle of the street. Your part is done.
We're gonna get somebody to do that. I'm not shoveling.
That's right.
I don't,
No, Joe, you don't
first
shovel.
thing I heard about one of the guys that was talking about the weather this week. In fact, the new guy on Channel 7, I knew him as a kid. I know his
wow.
family.
Okay.
And he came on announcing the weather, and he was talking about, okay, there's going to be some snow weather, and those folks, you don't be traveling to lift snow in this kind of weather, because it can be kind of crucial on your heart, So
Yeah.
I'm trying to save my heart. I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
nothing
That's
happen
a
to
good
it.
thing. I was talking to my friend Penny McKenzie.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she was like, I was shoveling my snow. I was like, why were you shoveling snow, Penny? I was like, you got to get a guy.
I'm telling you.
She's like, I got a guy. I just didn't want to pay him. Not this week. But yeah, you guys be careful out there if you're shoveling snow. And,
Yeah.
it's getting treacherous out there. Be safe as much as possible in this cold weather. You guys wrap up, keep your germs, your sanitizer,
Right.
in your pockets,
Right.
in your
Right.
cars. So wherever you go, you can clean up afterwards,
You
right?
clean up afterwards.
That's just
yeah.
our PSA for it right now.
That's great.
That's all right.
All these current events. We just had Martin Luther King's birthday.
Yes. Yeah.
Happy birthday, sir.
Yeah. They did a few celebrations at the museum, didn't they?
Yes, they had
Yeah.
a lot of things going on at the museum that I really wish that I had an opportunity to get down there, but that was still a weather trip. And I'm not saying that as an excuse, but I mean, I'd like to peruse and go through things. Like just past weekend, I went to a day before yesterday, I went to the auditions for the America's Got Talent.
Oh, okay. They gonna keep hanging around here at this area. They see all the potential.
Yeah, and I also saw some of the kids from the Detroit choir. I guess the choir masters got an ensemble of girls that they were presenting on there, and
Yeah.
T. Styles was there. Another friend of
Okay.
mine, Michael. I can't think of Michael's last name, but he was singing with the group, and three guys that's their brothers. They got a band. All these folks that I was looking at,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were going down to. All of them called me and let me know that they were there, so I had to go.
Okay.
And at that, it gave me an opportunity just to see a lot of talent and who
Right.
was coming from anywhere.
Right.
I thought I may run into you up in
Oh,
there.
no. See, I used to do
your
those
daughters
things.
and things.
Yeah,
I figured
yeah.
they
Well,
might.
yeah, that's
so,
true.
they
Because
may.
I'm like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
Not anymore for me.
It's always a shot in the dark.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you never know until you participate. And some of the folks that I was talking to, they were asking me about ever being in those kind of contests. I said, I started in a contest,
That's how
and-
you do it.
Yeah, and I did two pageants, two Miss Black America pageants. I did one for Shirley Washington
Okay.
and one for Amina Fakur, Duke Faker's niece. And I did Keith Washington on the, what was that one that he was on with, what was the first one?
Star Search?
Star Search.
Okay,
I
yeah.
did Star Search with Keith.
Wow.
And
Joe's been everywhere.
well, I mean, that people try to understand that every effort that you make, it has a very significant a lot to do with what you know about performing.
Right.
You
right.
know, folks, where I was sitting there listening to a lot of folks was talking, and folks were saying, well, I wish I could have sang to a track. You could sing to a track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wish I could have had the band. You could have a band, but they want you to audition with all
Right.
without that.
Right. They
You
want to
know,
hear the raw talent. Yeah.
raw talent. And my advice to the folks that I was talking to was that whoever the judge is, that's your audience.
Yeah.
You know, in other words, every nuance, every little thing you do, you singing to that person, and your confidence is in their hands. And
Yeah. That's true.
I was happy when, because the folks that I knew, when they came out of those rehearsals, they were kind of smiling, you know.
Yeah,
So that's,
yeah.
I said, well, you know, then that's it. You know, they
Yeah.
shut everybody down, but I know what's going on. They're taping those things.
Yeah. So they can go back and look
Simon
at it.
Cowell
Yeah.
and all those folks will look at it later, you know, and they'll help make the decision about whoever it is that they want. See, they plan all of that.
Right.
They wanna-
It's mostly scripted.
Scripted, yeah.
You know, so it's understandable.
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
with it being scripted because it's done for time, for the
Done
sake
for
of time.
time.
So,
Yeah.
you know, the thing I was thinking is that for anybody that auditioned, I just want you to know, don't feel like you didn't make the cut, or don't feel like you weren't good enough, because you're always good enough. You know, your talent is an individual, unique talent, and what you do is what you do. And you don't try to match or sound like anyone else, but don't get down if you don't make the audition, because there's plenty more auditions, and maybe your spot is a different spot. And so you can't really necessarily look at if you didn't make it. I used to do the auditions. And I quit. I was like, yeah, I ain't doing it no more. I auditioned for, somebody called me and said, I want you to go audition for the Dreamgirls movie. So I went, because they held one here. And I was like, what you want me to audition for? I was like, I'm not the fit for the part. But maybe they wanted me to be one of Whitney's friends or something. I had no idea. So I went and sang my little do. And I didn't get the part. But I was glad that I had the audition, because I got to see a different process in terms of movie auditioning. It's a 30-second in and out. And it's just that quick. And I auditioned for Rent. And I actually made it. But I didn't want to do it.
Well, you
It was too much time.
You're saying that, and whoop, whoop, whoop.
Uh-huh.
Did I lose my audio?
Yeah, you're still in there. I think you're still in there.
You're saying that, and I remember when the first audition that I did after I had started singing, I went to Toronto to audition for Hair.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I just taking a shot in the dark. You know, of course, I had been in and out of Toronto working. And when they was holding the auditions, I signed up there, and I had forgotten. And then somebody contacted me, and I was like, oh, let me break up here and see what this is all about, you know.
Okay.
So I went up there, and I got a shot.
Wow.
You know, but I was in the middle of doing gigs and all those. So what I did was, the first week that I had an opportunity to be there and sit in there and read for parts and things like
Yeah,
that. So I went up there and I read for parts, and one of the guys there, the guys were calling him Voopy. I still remember. I can't think his name. They called him Voopy.
Okay.
And he was like, this guy here, you know, he wanted to know my history.
Oh,
He said,
wow.
you can sing 3 or 4 parts. He got a loud voice, you know,
Oh.
so because, you know, it's for stage.
Right.
So, and I always been a ham, so you know I was, and it was very interesting. And in fact, I was kind of liking it, but gigs was coming,
Yeah,
you know, and I did not want to hang them up, you know. So I was saying, you know what, I'm gonna have to shut it down. The guy said,
Yeah.
well, whenever you feel you got time, you come and see me. He gave me his card and all those things. And the Toronto version of Hair was very good. It ran for quite a while.
Oh, wow.
You
Wow,
know,
yeah.
and I always thought and wondered what would have happened if I'd went to that direction. You know, a lot of things.
I don't know. Maybe you'd be like Homeboy, the one, what's his name? Billy something. I just love that guy. Oh, my God. He played in the series Pose. He also played in American Horror Story. Black guy. He came to and I'm saying you wouldn't have dressed like this or been like this, but your diva.
Okay.
Your Miva.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm making up words, Joe.
Okay,
Your male drama diva, your male diva might have exposed itself like that. But you still did it. when you did the white wigs and the platinum shoes and the silver pants.
Without hesitation.
You still did it. So your diva showed up,
Without
Joe.
hesitation.
Yes.
You know, and in fact,
Fearless.
Michael Jackson asked us one time, he was in the studio with me and my partner, and he was like, what made you guys decide to go that route? We were, and my answer automatically was, this was my third set of Undisputed Truth. I was trying not to mimic,
Right.
you know,
Right.
not to say, okay, we have a legacy that we got to carry on. And each time I had new people, and you have to feature them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
that's
know,
true. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a David Ruff and Eddie Kendricks and those kind of guys in the group, you know, or some Gladys Knights or something like that, because I was struggling with the fact that, first of all, the Billy Calvin and Brenda BJ were the first females that I'd ever sang with.
Right.
You know, as
You
a part
guys
of
hooked right on up, man. Ooh.
Norman Whitfield. You
was
know, he
powerful right
was
there.
putting those little pieces together.
Yeah.
In fact, you know, BJ never said it, but there was another girl that, you know, he was considering too. But when she dropped out, he just kept going after he
Okay.
approached me, you know.
Yeah.
And because I saw the other girl.
Okay.
You know, but when I left town and came back, see, I saw them before I left. I had just, well, not then, but probably 3 weeks prior to that, I was with the Ohio Players. When I left the Ohio Players, I went to Louisville, Kentucky with Harvey
Okay.
Fuqua. And I used to go down there with the Peps, and we
Okay.
used to work with a band down there who were called Nightlighters.
Okay. Right.
Now,
Yeah.
when I went down there and I started working with Nightlighters, I had an opportunity to work 20 grand in Detroit, but I also had some dates in Toronto. And the promoter in Toronto, or the club owner in Toronto, asked me if I could bring my band with me, which was, you know, I had been pushing to bring the
Right.
Ohio Players.
Right. Okay.
So, so what I did was I said, well, okay, I'm coming with the new band. We're called Nightlighters.
Okay.
So we went and did a little Buffalo and Toronto and all those things. And I was like, you know what? The one door closed, another one opened. So
Yeah,
as soon as
yeah,
we finished
yes.
Toronto, we got a call to come to the 20 grand.
Oh, wow.
Detroit. And boom, those 10 days in Detroit, Norman saw me
Yeah.
those 10 days in Detroit. Brendan and them had left maybe 10 days before that they were
Okay.
finishing. We came in after whoever it was that came in behind them, and then we came in behind them.
Yeah.
And that night, the first night, Norman and Clay McMurray showed up and approached me. But when all that was said and done, I got picked up by Motown.
Right.
And Harvey Fuqua, who we were representing out of Louisville, was still involved with Motown. So he was
okay,
doing the
okay.
Spinners. And the band, who were Nightlighters, became the band on the road for the Spinners. So
Oh,
I didn't
right,
feel
right.
too bad about
Okay.
that. In fact, when I brought those guys
They
from...
got an opportunity too.
I mean, it was. I
Yes.
mean, because at first, you know, Norman was not talking about the band. He was
Right.
only speaking of me, and I didn't want to bring them out of what they were already doing,
Right.
and then leave them.
Yeah.
You know,
But you
so-
know, when Motown's calling or Norman's calling,
Well,
I'm here.
Well, you
Present.
know, those guys were those guys were team players too, and they would say,
Yeah.
"Well, you know, you're gonna need a band." I say, "I already got one, don't we?" You know, yeah. So I was ready for that.
Yeah,
You know, and other things happened. Wawa became a part of the, you know, so
Bad
automatically,
man right there.
yeah, automatically he became the MD. You know, so my thing was, okay, I know all the musicians, but I like musicians to know who they're working with, so I let them pick them. Wawa picked guys, and then he got guys. And in fact, one of the guys that were originally with me with Undisputed Truth was Leroy Taylor, who was a member of Nightlighters,
Okay,
New Birth.
okay.
You know, he passed a few years back.
Okay.
But he was the bass player on Papa Was Rolling Stone.
Okay.
You know, so he was part of the Undisputed Truth when I came out of Louisville. So that all worked fine. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know,
Undisputed Truth has a broad, a very big history in terms of musicians and vocalists and everybody who, you know, I was doing gigs at the casino and they were watching me in the audience and I had no idea. But he'd be Ty was sitting there almost every gig.
yeah.
He'd come up to me, hey, "You talk to Joe?" I was like, really, really nice guy, but I had no idea. It was to me that was, I think, the most amazing part about the entertainment
Right.
that was at Motor City Casino is that you never knew who was in
Was
the
in
audience.
the audience, and that's that's all times. You never
Right.
know who's in the audience.
Right,
You know.
right. And then to see so many people, I remember starting in bands and then to see so many starting in bands with me, and then they just start to escalate in their own artistry and become this unique, dynamic individual. One lady like Dow Boy and Kimmy Horn. Oh
Right,
my
right.
God, I remember when Kimmy was singing with Norma Jean Bell. The first gig I've ever went to when I was younger was Norma Jean Bell down at Doug's Body Shop.
I remember Norma
She
Jean.
was out. She was playing the saxophone. She
Right.
was singing. She was dancing.
They be jamming.
She was doing it all.
They be
I was like,
jamming.
I want to be like her.
See, yeah.
I want to be like her because she had so much energy and passion for what she did. It's just awesome.
She was coming out of an era in Detroit where there was just so much entertainment. You see so many different people. You had an opportunity to preview who you could be.
Oh my God.
Because I mean,
Yes.
you're still in a little from this person, some from that person, and
Millie Scott.
Millie Scott.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
all
I
those
spent
folks.
days. Look, that was called woodshedding for me. Woodshedding is when I used to go watch Leslie and Gwen Fox,
Now I had a girl saying,
Norma Jean Bell, Millie Scott. I used to watch
that
those
was-
people.
That was and listen. When I was with the Peps, at the beginning, we had a lot of followers, and I took it for granted until Dennis Epwich came to town.
Yeah.
And folks were saying, "We're gonna go down and we're gonna to this malls to catch this guy." Dennis Epwich was just taking our audience,
Right. Oh.
So one night, the three of us, we went to malls and walked in there and we sat there and caught a set of Dennis Epwich, and I shook my head. I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, he bad."
Yeah.
He was tough, and the ladies was in there.
I
So
bet.
they
was geeking him up.
Yeah, but that's the way Detroit was. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Detroit. Any night you wanted to go out, it wasn't just in the streets. People call me now, say, "What are you doing?" I say, What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's, if it's not something happening at Burt's or something that's major that some of the folks in Detroit may be
Right.
involved in that we can particularly go to.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there's really no nightlife, in the sense of old Detroit.
Like it used to be.
Yeah, it used to
but
be.
see, that's why we're here because we
We-
have to create that.
reshape
now.
it.
So yeah, we have to. The key is to speak about it and start doing it. That makes a difference for us.
Well, that's-
And so that makes a difference for us down the line doing what it is
Got a
that
phone
we
call you
do.
got?
I don't. Listen, Joe, that's on you, hon.
Okay. I don't,
That's on Mr. Joe. You guys bear with us. We're still trying to understand this telephone thingy here. We see a couple calls in, and we want to get to you, but we have so much to talk about this morning.
boy, I'm
There's
telling
a
you.
couple things. Well, first, let's go back. Who was the lady that you mentioned that was in the group that BJ didn't mention?
Oh, Rita Harvey.
Rita Harvey.
Yeah, Rita Harvey, and her and hello, you on the air?
Hi, how are you?
All right. Who am I speaking with?
They shut down the entertainment at the Motor City Chromatic Lounge. Do you guys have an alternative space for the entertainment in Detroit?
Wait a minute. Wait. Let me pull your voice up a little louder. We're having a little hard time hearing you. Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yeah, I was saying since they no longer do the entertainment at the Motor City Casino, do you have another alternative for the Detroit artists?
Could you hear him?
I haven't heard of any alternative. He's asking if there's another alternative place outside of Motor City Casino that people can go to see the entertainment. Outside of the basic, the regular venues like Baker's and maybe the Locker Loom and name some
Local.
other
It becomes
local.
yeah. It's a lot of local places. I'm not saying that it's the nightlife as we talk about it now is totally different
Yeah.
from when I left here with Motown.
Right.
When back in the days when I started working here in Detroit, and Detroit became just a powerhouse for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And in Motor City, you're speaking about Motor City. You see, they're shutting down over there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're going into off-track betting.
Right.
See,
right.
so I worked in Caesars in Tahoe for 10 years, and one of the things that the guy who was running the entertainment there, when we every night before we would perform, he would have all the folks that was involved, and then we'd go in a room and he talk, and
Yeah.
he would remind everybody, we are here to entertain the
Right,
gamers.
right, right.
You know, so it wasn't so much about the entertainment per se,
Right.
like we're talking about, or like you're referring to. You know, they can bring people in from any and everywhere.
Right,
You
right.
know, so it's just like at the Motor City now. They're shutting down, changing that room over to a
Yeah.
betting room.
But see, the dynamic had changed for Motor City at that point. You know,
Right.
people were going to Motor City to see the entertainment. A lot of people were going to gamble. I can't take that away. But however, Motor City was a spot. You know, people still ask me, "Are you down at Motor City? Are you down at Motor City?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not
That's
sitting
where I
at the
saw you.
casino anymore." That's where
I saw
that's where
you.
Joe saw me. However, it became a platform like the places back in the day.
Right.
Like was it Henry's Palace? What's it?
Yeah, Mozambique.
20 grand.
Yeah.
It became a platform for people to come and see good entertainment,
Good
on the
entertainment.
weekends, or basically almost any day of the week. You know, I mean, it's kind of hard to find Larry Lee in the back of the day band jamming, you know, funking it up, doing
Right,
anything.
yeah.
A great show like Kimmy Horn and
Right.
and all these other groups out there that are just really, really doing really, really good things. And so
Right.
outside of that venue, the only thing I could suggest for anybody interested in finding out where some of the talent is you can go online and find out where some of the acts are performing. You know, you can Google the name of the artist that you may want to see. Look in the newspaper, because a lot of times, Metro Times, they have a lot of
Right,
information
yeah.
about acts that are in there that are performing, and you could find it. Facebook.
Well,
some
yeah,
other
promoters are bringing acts in, and they're picking and choosing their spots to put them in. And what we were overly talking about was the fact that these were venues that sit there night after night.
Yes, yes.
Where where we can go to Burt's and see everybody there.
Yeah,
On a one
yeah.
night, but. In Detroit at that time, folks were scattered. They were everywhere.
yeah.
I mean, you could not go in any club and not find at least 3 or 4 artists sitting in the audience.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because I mean, that was how, we did it. You know, when we weren't working, we go support someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, or somebody that you never had an opportunity to see.
Yeah.
You know, and they were raising some noise. We go check them out.
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of times now, a lot of the new artists, though, or the upcoming artists, they're really, really hungry.
We don't want to leave our.
Well, we want to thank you guys for calling
in.
in,
I wanna say
and
one thing.
Say that
Why
again.
can't we do that at WHCI? They got a large enough room for live entertainment. I think it's going to waste. Why can't you bring that there?
why can't Detroit bring the talent here? Is that what you're saying?
No, you two.
Oh, Joe and
people
I.
there.
We were working on it. I mean, and when we're talking about when we
You know
came.
R.J. Watkins, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I
Yes,
think
we
you
do.
can make it happen.
We
That's
can-
right.
That's
That's right.
one of our purposes for,
Right.
for even doing this show. You know, we wanted to be able to have a platform. Everywhere I go in the country, when there's some place to perform,
Mm-hmm.
there's always some radio station or some TV station where artists can go and promote himself,
Right.
promote the venue, promote
Right,
whatever
right.
it is. This is the only venue right now that we have in this. We got all of Motown right here with this venue, and this is what we're trying to create with our show. We're supporting the young talent,
Yeah.
the talented folks that are out there working today that have music.
Right.
And later on we want to talk about the people with music, because we just were talking this morning about the Grammys.
Yeah.
And about the unfairness, and we don't want to be complaining about it.
Right,
We can talk about what other folks are doing and how
Yeah,
they're doing
yeah.
it. If we're not positive enough to think that we have the talent and the culture and the history to put this thing together to make it be about something. Look at the kids.
Yeah,
From
The children's choir.
the children's choir.
Yeah.
I went to the. I was just saying. I went to the America's Got Talent the other day and saw. I mean, Detroit is full of talent, and it's around. There were people at this audition from from Dayton, Ohio. I met some folks there from Greenville, South Carolina.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
folks there from Texas.
Yeah.
You know, they came all the way to Detroit to do these auditions. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know, it's like at one time. Folks say if the audition was in Detroit, I'm not going to Detroit because Detroit's going to clean up. There were a lot of folks in that audition yesterday. I didn't get a chance to see all of them, but I saw some, like I said, I saw some of the folks that I knew, you know, and a couple of the folks that called me and said that they were doing it. So I found out where it was and I went,
Yeah,
you know, because I wanted to expose myself to that, you
Yeah.
know, so that whenever something is like that's coming, I want to be able to have a reason to say, come on my show.
Right, right.
Come and do this. And in fact,
Right.
I talked to T. Styles, you know, she said, well, I ain't ready to do the show yet because I want to be fresh. I want to do some of the things. And she got a big play at this thing. I mean, she got so much personality that the folks walked around and put a microphone on her. I
Yeah, but
was
she
like,
already has a presence.
Has a
You know,
presence,
and then
right.
that's the thing that I like about her. A lot of the younger artists today that I see, they're creating their own dynamic for whatever's happening in their world. I put it that
Right,
way.
yes.
They have followers. Like, you know, Ty Styles has followers. You know, she has her persona already set. She just need the opportunity. And so, but that's why we're here to help create the opportunity.
Create that and talk about it.
To answer your question, yes, that is exactly why Joe and I are here, is to find platforms for people to be able to perform on, to connect people. Well, connect you with this one and connect you with that one, and to make things happen. So for all the new talent, and for maybe some of the older talent, you know, like we had the attorney on here that was talking about some of the artists that were from Motown and to show them how to get their royalties. And so that's the goal. The goal of the show is information to provide to help other people get what they need out of what they're looking for. And so,
Well-
but thank you for calling. We appreciate the call. And yeah, you know, we keep pushing it, keep pushing the issue. I really do think we need to do a show. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think we need to do like a talent drive, and we'll do
Right.
like the 20 grand. We'll find another place, but we'll
That's
do
right.
like the 20 grand and
Film it.
We'll have people coming in to audition. We'll do the best out of the 5 or the best 10X, like America's Got Talent or
Right.
or American Idol, and then, you know, whop it on down and see what we can do with that.
Right. What's up,
Yes.
Detroit? We, you know,
Yes.
you want to know? Check us out here, and we can. The man that owned this building has a club potentially in the back of this place that if he ever got it up,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it has the potential to do
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
If you guys never been down, I don't know if they do tours, but you guys should check it out because it's a really, really nice building. They do offer classes here for young people that is interested in video production. You guys can come and check it out. You know, there are opportunities everywhere you look. It's about putting yourself in the place to
Right.
make it happen.
And
Yeah.
that's the gist of it all.
To make it happen.
Yeah.
So, okay, now getting back to where we are, I wanted to talk a little bit about Brenda Wilson because she has this event coming up.
Right.
And it's like a legend show. It's Jackie Wilson's Foundation. They present a Black History Month fundraiser. It's for new and upcoming talent, so they're always talking about upcoming talent, just like we are. And Brenda's such a beautiful person. She came on the show and she talked about all the different things that she's done and how she's been exposed to so many people just in the history of her father, the late great Jackie Wilson. And but she's doing a legend event, and it's going to be featuring the offsprings of legends. That would be people like Brenda, right? And who else we have on
Paul
here?
Williams
Paul
Jr.,
Williams Jr.
Who's with Dennis Edwards and
That's right.
Temptations.
That's right.
Who else is
That's
over
right.
there?
I see Rose Reed, Jimmy Reed.
Yeah.
That's Thelma Stubbs, Levi, daughter of Levi Stubbs, right?
Now, yeah,
Right?
all the Stubbs girls.
Yeah, all the Stubb girls. The
girls.
Stubb girls going to be here. Man, that's so cool. Yeah. So we're going to check this out. We want you guys to check it out too. We'll put it up on our Facebook page so you guys can find information on how to come. The tickets are like $10 to attend the
Northwest
event. It's at the Northwest Activity Center.
Yeah.
What date is this, Joe?
The
It's on,
20th.
February 23rd.
Yeah, the 23rd.
So that's coming this Saturday. Yeah. This Thursday is
No.
tonight.
To February.
Oh, no, it's February, honey. I'm stuck in. I'm pushing a whole
It's
month
a new
ahead.
year. Take your time.
No, I'm in a hurry. I gotta get there now.
Okay.
Yeah, but February 23rd, tickets are $10, and the show is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You'll hear more about this as it gets closer. I'm thinking about another show I'm going to this evening, and it has the young ladies that was on the show. They're doing a show tonight in Royal
okay,
Oak.
right,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they'll be. I'll pull the information up and give it to you guys, and put it on our page on Facebook so you can see
Right.
on What's Up Detroit. If you guys haven't checked in, check in, become our friend. Leave a comment. We love to hear what you guys have to say, as well.
Yeah, right now we want to burn a little bit. Not Bernie Sanders,
What you mean, burning, Joe?
lemon burn. We want to get you in the right perspective with your health
Yes.
and get yourself on a program that is going to be healthy. You can tell them
Yes.
about it. You
Tell. Well, I've been doing it. It's got rid of all the cold. I'm telling you, it's got rid of
Okay.
all of the stuff in me. You can hear. I mean, I still have a little sniffle. However, I feel better. Remember what,
Okay.
about 3 weeks ago, I was full of
Right.
congestion.
Right.
And I was like, what is going on? I don't know what to do to get rid of it. And so I started back drinking my lemon burn. And after I took my trip, I took a break, like a 2-week break from the lemon burn, and I got sick. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to get it. So, but lemon burn is really, really good for you. They sell it here, right? You can get it right here, WHPR in Highland Park. You guys call the station if you're interested in getting some. You might know LaWanda on Facebook. You can check her out because she also knows how you can get it. Maybe you can inbox her and ask her, hey, how do I get it?
Right.
But it works really good. If you really want to see a true example of what it does and how it works, check out LaWanda. I'm just gonna say, the girl ain't playing. So good. I'm just saying, it works really, really good. All natural ingredients.
All natural ingredients.
I think it's got a little bit of lemon in there.
Yep.
It's got some ginger.
It's got all those things that
Honey.
you get up in,
Yes.
in juice and things. And the thing about it is it's everything that I've seen in there is good. So
Yeah.
everybody has mixtures, and you have to really put yourself in a position where, it may not be good for everybody, but you never know until you try it.
That's right. That's right.
So try it.
That's right. So in February, I was thinking about bringing on what I call the up and coming.
Okay.
I'm always creating something, right, Jim?
That's the month.
So
Yeah.
we have several young people now, several young black people that are doing things in the city that people don't know about. And I call these the new unsung heroes.
Okay.
Like a young lady I know named Robin Floyd, she works at the Children's Center downtown Detroit, and she's over the entertainment and bringing in the artists in the entertainment. She brings in independent black business owners to help create events, but also to provide for the events. Like Juanita Reynolds, who has a program called Feed Our First, and she feeds people for free. They'll do an event. Sometimes there'll be 30 families at the event. Sometimes there'll be 10 families at the event. But she will go and cook food out of her own pocket and bring it into people. They don't pay her anything. She does this because she wants people to understand that clean eating is healthy living. And she feels like she needs to be able to teach them how, since she's studied so hard to learn how to become healthy herself. And it's kind of changed her life around. And so she's always on me. She's like, Mom, I'm going to cook you this. I'm going to cook you that. I'm going to make this. So she does. I got really sick at one point a couple years ago.
Right.
She put me on green, and she kept me on green. And that's what kept me healthy and kept me from getting sick. A lot of times this food out here is not necessarily the
good.
best thing for you.
Right.
So, and I've been doing the lemon burn with it. Man, it's awesome.
Okay.
So I haven't been sick in a while now, Joe.
Well,
No-
then don't get sick. When you know what to do, then you do it. And
Yes.
I struggled through the winters since I've been back in Detroit.
Yeah,
This is the
yeah.
first winter where I ain't gonna say I've been, I haven't had episodes, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing about the weather so much that has. Like the year of Prince passed, when everybody had the flu and you keep thinking that you were over it,
Yeah.
and it kept coming back. I mean, I was really on the edge at that year.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
it just made me a little bit more thoughtful about the weather, and the places and the things that you can't take for granted.
Right.
And you got to change everything. So
Mm-hmm,
I haven't had no sniffles.
See, listen, I'm gonna tell you. You came from California back to Detroit. That's all I got to say about
Okay,
that.
well,
You and Miss BJ.
Okay.
I'm like, wait a minute. What there is something here.
It's worth doing.
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
I've been to California maybe one time. I'm like, I gotta go back. What Leon
go-
said, gotta
you
get
got-
back, gotta get back.
Yeah, you got to get
Yes,
back.
gotta get back.
Yeah.
So now I want to talk about the Grammys.
Oh.
Now, what happened with that? Young lady came out. She was the CEO.
CEO, new
and
CEO.
said that the new CEO, newly appointed CEO, and said that there's a good boys club, a good old boys club at the Grammys. But
Yeah.
we knew this. I'm just going to tell you. Anybody that does any kind of contest, television show, you know there's a network that keeps people in line, and there's a method to the madness. That was one of the reasons why I didn't watch those shows.
Right.
But she just kind of validated a little bit of
Yeah.
what I was saying. However, it's unfortunate that we have to deal with that today still.
But you know what? Listen, and when you understand that people have always had their personal fix in, you know, when I woke up and saw this, I first heard about it last night. I didn't get a chance to really get off into it, but this morning I heard. I'm talking about it on the news, so I said, let me see what's going on with the Grammys, and if
Wow.
and it say at first they were saying they may shut down, you know,
Whoa.
and you know the first thing that came to my mind was, you know, when I came into Motown, I got a Grammy. Now before I came to Detroit, I had a contentious discussion with a friend of mine who worked for the Grammys.
Okay.
You know, and because it was always in my resume. She said, "Joe, well, I went back through our archives, and we don't see nowhere where Undisputed Truth got a Grammy." You know, and Marlon.
Gotta know the history.
You know what I'm saying? Marlon McNichol said, "Well, she probably don't know nothing about NARAS."
Yes.
She said because Grammys didn't just come in and be the one.
So now explain what NARAS.
NARAS
Explain
was
what
the
NARAS
National
was.
Association of Recording Artists.
Yes. Before they became the Grammys.
Before they became infused with the Grammys.
Right. Okay.
So they became one. And in that year that we got a Grammy for the best new mixed group. You know, which Smiling Faces was driving all of that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so whatever those little processes were then, you know, every year there was always a category that was brand new because there are so many different types of groups, people
Right,
with
right.
different concepts, you know, that you have to give them some kind of due.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so I mean,
Some
you know,
recognition.
it's not just like, okay, well, everything is going to be patterned after this group or that group. There's male groups, there's female groups, you know, and then some of those groups you just cannot, you know, dominate over them. How you going to
Right.
dominate over the Temptations, the Dells, the OJs, and the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Vandellas, the Supremes? You have to come in with something that makes a difference. And I thought about it. I was like, you know, and when this lady came on this morning and said that, the thing that really caught my ears was she said, we voted, and all the folks that have Grammy votes for the Grammys voted. And all of a sudden, after the vote was in, there were 30 other names that weren't even there.
Oh wow.
And you come to find out that they were involved with some of the folks that were on the board who had conflicts of interest,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
had, you know, acts that they represented, and all of a sudden they were in there. How do they get in there? Because it's a voting thing.
Yeah.
And she was upset about it. And then what
She
happened
said
was
something
they
in
tried to reprimand her. And she said, oh, no.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, she's the CEO. It was her name is Deborah Dugan.
Dugan, yeah.
So they just kicked her out, huh? They just got rid of her.
Well, they're going to cost
But
them a pretty
I'm
penny.
gonna tell you, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So, and what's important is information and informing everybody of what's going on, so that now, you know, those that may not have had a clue, now you know. You know, it's really important. You know, this world, and this is, I'm gonna go back to Dr. King,
Go ahead.
because that's one of the things socially that Dr. King was against. And bringing this to the forefront is putting her in a place in history, because nobody will go against the will,
Yes.
the industry will
Yes.
of the Grammys, you know. So she has some big feet right now,
Right.
and people should really be listening to her and look at what she's doing and what she's saying. You know, she's coming to the forefront, kind of like Dr. King came to the forefront for us and said, "Hey, look, just because it's been this way for umpteen years does not mean that it's right.
Time for change.
Time for change."
Everything must change. Is
Yes.
Stevie Wonder? Everything must
No,
change.
no. That's I can't remember the man name. Well, he did it. He did a version of it.
Right.
too.
Okay. Yeah.
I think everybody
Well,
did
yeah,
that.
but I mean, you know, in the glee in it for me is that you know
Quincy.
we always think about like, we want to get a Grammy.
Yes.
But we want to be able to participate and compete, not be a part of somebody that's going to push a bunch of folks to the side
Mm-hmm.
just to bring. I mean, I used to get upset. I mean, in the last 10 years, I was always upset with the Grammy award shows
Yeah.
because it's always the same people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, I was like, well, I mean, we
But
don't
see,
have
that's
no
a-
other folks.
That's the dollar bill right there. You know, it's like
I understand that.
when before your record hit the stores, it's already platinum. How does that happen?
Right.
Sounds like a dollar bill.
Well, it sounds like a record company. They can afford to put that on that.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
And say, okay, you got triple platinum before it's on
It's
the
even
streets.
sold.
See, so you know it, and then here in Detroit, we have zero
Mm-hmm.
radio. I'm talking about when I say zero radio, I don't mean there are not radio stations,
Right.
but radio stations were driven by artists.
Right.
When I came up, you know, where they played that music, those stations got the play.
Mm-hmm.
People turned to this station, and it was 3 or 4, 5 different stations. People
Mm-hmm.
had choices, but now they have totally put muzzles on new artists. Eddie Levert. I remember reading on Facebook when he said that he released his first single, and he went to this radio station where he had something to do with the radio station being whatever they were, and he's sitting there and the folks pull him in there and they talked to him and woo woo, and he had his record. He was ready to play his record, and they looked at him and said, "We can't play that."
It's not in
You know,
rotation.
what kind of? I
It's
mean,
not on the program.
you know,
That's not cool.
It's not cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just to blatantly change. In other words, it's like this guy that's running the country. He want to just change everything. You know, all these things people have gotten used to, and become dependent to the point where they make their living off of.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, that's why we got unions. You know, so people can be involved in it. But this
Right.
lady from the Grammys was saying they got she told on them.
Yeah.
She said they got a good old boys club. Now, I don't know any black folks on the Grammy committees, you know, on the major Grammy committees.
Right.
But I know that when all those folks that are being represented, you can trail and find out who represents who, you know, and some folks that you see on these shows every year,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
got a connection.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they okay, but I mean, come on, get your own show. Give all these new people an opportunity to express themselves. I mean, I'm talking about people who have the ability to be an entertainer and to entertain you. Not somebody know them and they represent them, and then all of a sudden they out there, they got a show that they can't do live. That's
Right.
always performed in front of a camera, and then when you know just to think make you think that they Janet Jackson or some of the bigger artists, and then they haven't had that kind of exposure.
Right. That's
You know, see, so and then you look back and you
right.
see all the older, not R&B acts, but white acts, Nickel Plate, all those folks coming back. You know, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so Channel 7 here in Detroit, they had a whole big spread about all these folks coming back, and I was like, everybody comes back but Motown people. You know, what about not necessarily Motown? Where's Stax? Where's Philly International?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
those folks that open it up for all of those folks that you're looking at out there today that are getting an opportunity, and you can't exclude the past.
Yeah. No, you
know,
can't, because that's what started it
It's
all.
the history.
That's the
right.
history of it all, you
See-
know. But that's part of the and I don't like to say this, but the new way of doing things. You know, it's like how we talk about. A lot of us, I ain't gonna say we, but some of us talk about the new generation and how they want it now, and that has a lot to do with it. that has a lot to do with the way
course.
things have changed. It's not like it used to be, because it's not about representing what happened in the past, because we know the past. Now it's about bringing forth what's going to happen in the future, and it's
Right.
all done right here, right now. Because of what it can bring. You know, if you see an artist that's hot, you know, they're going to pump that artist, pump and pump until they make all the money they can get, until they, what's her name? Nina Simone say, squeeze that ego till it grand, get every
That's
dollar,
right.
every juice out
That's
of
right.
him. And then when the artist is gone, then they fall flat, and then they're lost, wondering like, what happened? Where am I now? But that is the will. That is part of it. But artists has to realize, you know, they have to realize that they have the power. And when you realize that you have the power, then you can't be controlled by a will. And you could be one of the ones that they let go down the line. You just have to take control of how you want to be seen. It's not about making that quick dollar. As we saw back in the 90s, a lot of artists lost money. You know, we had a lot of famous artists out there bankrupt because they did not take control of their future in terms of what they were going to do in their career. You don't have to be a part of the will. You don't have to. Just
Right.
take control of it. You know, that's the
Right.
most important thing I think I can say to anybody out there doing it. You know, don't
Right.
just jump on the wagon because it's going, and it's going in your direction. However, look at the path. You know,
Right.
look at you know how you're going to burn
Right.
on that journey. You know, you
There's
want to
a-
be very careful about that.
There's a lot of roads and of experience of a lot of folks that have made the same kind of turns and stops at different places in their
Yes.
careers, and you have to use those things, because if you don't, there's always the traps.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, always the traps. You know, people lose most of the big time writers and songwriters from our generation. Their families don't own the music.
Oh wow, yes, that's right.
I mean,
That's right,
you
they
know,
don't.
and there's life after death. You know, when you think that music is dead, it's not dead.
No.
You know, because that music is, somebody knows how to resurface it over and over and over again, and it's a living.
Yes, it is.
You know, so when you
it is.
brand yourself, you know, so that you know what it is, the things that you're doing
Yeah.
belong to you.
Yes.
You know, so you don't do it just for the day. We used to make a
Right.
record.
Right.
Just for that turnaround. And then we were talking about the other week about songs that we put on an album. And that was a bad song. We never sang it. We
Wow.
recorded it, but we never sang it. And
But
then
that is the longevity of today.
That's right.
That is your tomorrow. The songs that weren't played,
that's right.
because they have relevance. They were relevant for the album then.
That's right. And
So
and
definitely doable now.
That's right. Somebody that was really looking at the total picture saying, this is a
Yes.
great song, this is a great song. But, you know, when you get the radio, they focus on those releases.
Right.
You know, and it's up to you to be able to morph them into your show or something. But like I say, we were changing, and then so we have to do a little of this to let people remember, and then we have to go on to do the next thing that we're doing.
Yes,
Like what we're
yes.
doing now. The past help us to get to this point in the future. So we can't forget the past. We got to
Right.
go over the things in the past,
Right.
because we go places and people say, I want to hear y'all sing
Right,
this.
right.
I want to hear you sing. But we want to sing what we're doing too today.
Yeah,
And that makes
yeah.
a difference. So you got to be able to do it like a business. It is a business.
Yes,
You know, it's a lot
yeah.
of fun, you know, but it's a lot of work too, and a lot of thought has to be put into it.
And there's a lot of great artists that came through the Grammy Network. A lot of great people, you know, and, you know, it's kind of disheartening to hear this information. You know, if you're a performer, entertainer, musician, singer, dancer, whatever you do, actress, actor, it is very disheartening to hear this, because you work really, really hard and you put your heart and soul into what you do as entertainers, and to hear that it's being monopolized is just the worst thing on the planet to me right now.
it's all about the dollar.
horrible. It's all about the dollar. So control your artistry. Do what you do as artists, and don't get so caught up on trying to be so big that you forget who you are and what your goal is in the process of being an artist. You know, I think music has a huge impact on society and how people think and how we act. In the 60s, it changed the minds of many people that were fighting against
Millions,
wars.
yeah.
And so it's really, really important, as I say to artists all the time, be careful what you say, you know, and be careful what you put out there, because a lot of times people use that and they're super, super influenced by what you do and what you say. And so don't be disheartened by what's happening at the Grammys, because there is a place for all artists on this planet, and it doesn't make a difference what music you do or what style. If you want to know, ask Jay-Z.
That's Jay-Z.
Because I remember Jay-Z coming out, I was like, ooh, I'll never listen to him. But he changed up altogether. And he and Beyonce became social. They started thinking about what they were saying. And the music changed. And now it's about creating for the future. And,
Right.
and they're driven. They have the money thing happening too. However, they try to be conscious about what they say and what they do now that they know. It's, as Oprah said, when you know better, you do better.
You do better.
Right?
It's no excuse when
Yes.
you know. My grandmother used to say that, said, once you know, the cat's out the bag,
Yes.
so you don't have a choice.
Right.
You know, you're going to be who you're going to be, and if it matters to you, then you're going to be just.
Right,
You
right.
know, and that's when, and I mean, and I've always, well, when I was with Martha Jean, the Queen, used to manage us when I was with the Peps, and she used to tell us we're gonna weaponize this music.
Yes.
You know, we want to. Well, I
It
mean,
sounds
you
like
know,
something she would
yeah,
say, yes.
we're gonna use it, but it's gonna be for good.
Yeah.
You know, she said, now I know you guys got all these songs and the girls be following you. She said, but when we do some stuff, we want to have something to say.
Yeah.
We want to talk about something. So when we started going to the Martha Jean the Queen's things every Monday night, and it was about keep on pushing. We was doing that.
Oh, wow.
I mean the impressions gave. I mean we just took the
one of my favorite
impressions.
songs right there, yeah.
And that was it. Keep on pushing, and then it's all right. Then choice of colors, all those kind of things had
yes.
messages to it, and were very, very much played on for Martha Jean.
Yeah,
You know, see,
yeah.
so we learned the value of that, and you always want to know that when you're making music, that is something 10 years from that time later, you can always sit back and say, oh yeah. People ask me today and talk about Smiling Faces, say that was my favorite record. I would say it's still my favorite record.
Yes.
You know, because it's, you know, and that's what
Yeah,
it is when
yeah.
you got a song that's just sit there. You know, you just say, okay, you know, there is somebody up there who's looking out for you, and you got something that belongs to you. Can't nobody take it away from you.
Yeah. And
You know.
the messaging in it is so relevant
That's right.
to today.
And you,
I ain't gonna talk about who, but it's so relevant to today.
Yes.
You know, in all our political arenas, when we see those smiling faces,
yes.
you know,
Think about it.
Be careful.
Yes.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
You might get it. You might get it.
Joe, we sound so cliche.
But I mean, you know what? That's what we do. We usually do it on a platform where we go on the stage.
Yes.
But when you're telling the truth, you don't have to hesitate. You
No.
don't have to think about it. You know, and I always go back to when we had those girls on from the Dime, and,
Yeah.
and the guy was questioning me about the answers that I was giving. I always make sure of what I'm saying to the kids coming up,
Yes.
because first of all, it's a new day. But the rules and the road is always the same. You
Yes.
have to, first of all, you have to know how the wheel operates,
Right.
and then you get your legs together to be able to run with the bulls.
Run with
You
big
know?
dogs.
Yeah. See, so you know,
Yeah.
and right now, before I would tell, I mean, it's like we're telling my kids the wrong things. You know, I want to tell somebody else's kids who, when I see the gleam in their eye
Oh,
about
yeah.
the being on stage and performing, you know, and say, listen, first thing you got to do is you got to be commanding. You have to let people know that you are into what you're doing. you
Right,
know?
right.
And they start smiling. I said, see, I know, because I mean, I didn't care.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. But you know, you told them the right thing. You know,
Yeah.
and the fact that did you see how attentive they were
Yeah,
when you
of
were talking?
course.
They was like, you could hear a pin drop in here. I was like, ooh, this is a moment.
Yes.
I had to take that picture because they value
Right.
they value the history They value your knowledge, your skill, the fact that you're here today still, because there are so many that aren't with us.
Right.
You know, now you know, right?
Right.
And so teaching them is what's really, really important.
That's what is important.
So that they can move on. And anyone that's in entertainment that's, you know, doing their thing now, if you got a word to drop of encouragement to these new artists out here, drop it for them so that they can hear it. Give them a push, because they definitely need that. You know what I'm saying? Joe, is it that time? Joe
What's
got
up,
quiet.
Detroit?
I know when it's quiet.
Yeah, when
I
it's
know
time for us to go, you know, we just be getting started. But it's good. It's cool.
That's
you know.
right, yes.
And we're trying to, you know, like we said, we were trying to just get this new year started,
Mm-hmm.
and good things gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we you know, we're on the road, and you know, thanks you for calling in and
Yeah.
watching in. We let you know next time the call numbers, so that we get caught. We get caught sometimes when these
Right.
phones start lighting up and we be into something we don't see it.
Right.
So,
We
but
just
we're
get to
good.
talking,
We're good.
talking about all the stuff, the good stuff.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you guys for joining us this week again on What's Up Detroit. We will see you next week, this time Thursday, right,
Okay.
Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that going to be February yet?
Yes.
It's going to be the first week of February. You guys were moving in. Wow. The
Black History Month.
time is going by. It's Black History Month, and we're going to do some really, really good things in Black History Month and showcase a lot of the new talent that's coming in the city, or that's in the city, you
That's
know,
in the city, yes.
for the next year coming. We want to thank you guys again. Joe, is that it?
That's it.
Thank you to our sponsor, Limit
Happy New
Burn.
Year.
We'll see you next week. What's up, Detroit?
What's up, Detroit?